and just what he says, and I implement it, and I try to live by it, and I try to teach it as well to our people. So, well, happy birthday, Dr. Claude
Yeah,
Anderson.
he's a great man, and and one thing I should say too is because for whatever reason this morning, black women were kind of on my mind, and I think that while we know how great Dr. Anderson is, and by the way, I spoke to him yesterday, everybody, and he
Oh
told me
wow.
he sends his regards and wants you all to know how much he loves you. I was also thinking about just some of the great black women that we have that we see that are amazing. Like I know at the convention. You and the Fly Nubian Queens were there. Dr. Lene Javette, Dr. Alicia, Shaleigh Camilo, and a lot of other sisters. The sister Mary Dean, the attorney, Tierra Williams, who also actually, ironically, just released an album. And I wonder if sometimes we aren't as quick to really talk about all the great women that are doing amazing things. Like when I think about Dr. Anderson's generation, the first name that comes to mind in terms of black female economic thinkers would be Dr. Julianne Malveaux, who's a great friend of mine who I love and admire a lot. Do you think, Constance, sometimes we don't get, we're quick to sort of elevate what the men are doing, and we sort of forget sometimes all the great things the women are doing.
I think we do, but here's the thing that I've been seeing is that when you elevate a woman, you're not devaluing a man. And so there's this separation that we have. Even when I talk about, on my podcast about how like a few months ago when it was 106,000 black women, and I was talking about how they lost their jobs. I seen in the comments, I think maybe even it was on your YouTube page, they were saying, "Oh, good for them. They thought that they was this. They thought, men were like celebrating the fact that black women had lost their jobs." And it's like, no, listen, we a family. This is us together. So the only way that we can rise as a community is together. We have to get out of that Willie Lynch mindset to where we're separating, where we're pitting each other against each other. The man is against the woman, light, dark, old, young, all that stuff. We got to start thinking as one collectively. So I think that's the bigger issue is this idea of separation between black men and black women more so than anything.
Interesting. Yeah, like speaking of that, black women have lost a lot of jobs in the
Yeah.
last few months. It almost seems like politically speaking, there's like this battle of sort of Trump against black women. Like that's kind
Agree.
of like black women hate him. Not all of them, but many of them do. No, again, there's that percentage that actually don't dislike him, right? But the majority, not Trump fans. He ain't speaking to no AKA or Delta conferences no time soon, right? And then you have this sort of white male thing going on where white men seem to have wanted to sort of reclaim a certain amount of authority in the country and side just watching because we weren't really positioned as the power brokers in this country. We were so marginalized. What do you think about that? I mean, it just, because a lot of the jobs that were lost, the DEI jobs, a lot of black brothers didn't get those jobs, right? A lot of the government jobs, brothers got some of those jobs, but not as many. Like black women were really doing well in corporate America, doing well with government, and then those jobs disappeared. What is your perception in terms of what's been going on? Because I know you actually did a viral video about all the black women that lost their jobs, and we'll talk. I definitely want to talk about that in a minute. But give me your thoughts on some of that.
So I 100% agree. So I saw it coming. I did. I saw it coming. And you're right. I do believe it's political. I do. You may call me, but I do believe that it was a personal attack. Trump is on this binge tour, and you think about this: 92 vote for Trump. Black women are most concentrated in the public sector in government jobs, especially here. I'm in the DMV now, especially here where you have all of these high earning black women. You have these highly educated, high earning black women that work for the government. Everybody here got a good government job. Everybody here makes six figures. Where's the first place you go on your revenge tour? Because you think about it, the first person that Trump fired the day he got into office, she was a white woman, but she was a DEI because she was an admiral in one of the military forces, and she was supporting the elevation of people of color and the elevation of women. First person he fired, and then he went after DEI. And you think about, as they strategize, in my opinion, as they strategize, as they went after the places where they knew that there was a high concentration of, let's put these black women in their place. They've gotten too uppity. They've gotten too educated. Now they're in positions where they're over, these white men, and we got to take our rightful place with this idea of meritocracy, which we know doesn't exist because it's really white mediocrity. That really is why they're in these positions is because of nepotism and things like that. But I believe that there has been a concerted, targeted effort against Black women specifically, just to bring us down and put us back in our place by the administration.
Interesting. You know, well, just in case people are wondering, in 1 month, Black women lost 160,000 jobs, and
Yeah.
then that number eventually rose to 300,000. And so that was the largest number of job losses for any particular demographic. Also, in addition to that, which speaks to some of what you've actually discussed, Constance, workforce participation among Black women dropped to about 61%. So only 61% of Black women even want a job or want to participate in the workforce. And so all this kind of goes down. And one point that you made that I thought was really profound was you said that this is that you're literally taking this highly skilled group of people and you're unleashing them. You're opening them up to starting businesses and becoming investors and doing other things, and that it's going to be a loss for the country. Can you kind of speak to that?
Yeah, so this is the beautiful part of the whole Trump administration. So for everybody who's pissed off at the administration and Donald Trump for everything that's happening right now. So first of all, let's address the fact that we have the highest unemployment rate that we've had since before COVID or since COVID, right? So Black people in general are unemployed, men and women, just more Black women than men. But what I love about this administration is I believe that there's a great awakening, Dr. Boyce, with Black people because we've been asleep for the past 50 years. We've had the idea that this whole great American idealism was for us. So we've a lot of us have relied on handouts. A lot of us have the idea that we are in a post-racial society, which where do them people go? Them people that were maiming and hanging and everything else, where do you think they went? All they did is get dormant and quiet. They've been waiting on a time such as this. So what this has done as I think it's awakened a lot of Black people. And one of the things I said is now what we need to do as Black folks is we need to mind our Black business and mind our Black business. What I mean by that is we need to start creating businesses, sustainable businesses in our communities. And I think that the great thing about this whole Trump and administration and Black people is I think it's awakening Black people to now the possibilities. These people don't give a fuck about us. They don't. And they
Mm.
are not coming to save us. And the sooner that we realize that white people are not coming to save us, the better off we will be. And we can start creating our own. And that's what we need to be doing. So I think there's a great awakening amongst Black people right now. And that's what I'm excited about. I'm excited about us, our future, the whole wealth gap. I think I'm prayerfully it's going to close. I think that if we work together, we're gonna make shit happen. But I really believe that this was a blessing for us, even though we have to, just like any blessing, right? Before you get to the blessing, you got to go through some things, and this is something to go through in order to get confident that Black people are going to come out even more resilient. I'm excited about.
You know, I agree with you 100%. And by the way, I want everybody to know I'm talking to the one and only Constance Carter, and we're talking about a lot of different things. And so I want to remind everybody that Constance has a training coming up in the Black Business School, and she's going to talk about that in a second. Chanel's going to put a link in there if you want to join her class. And actually, since we're talking about that, and I want to get back to this topic as well. What exactly are you doing and when and what's about to go down?
Yeah, so this is our second cohort of the B1 baby, real estate mastery training. We are training individuals from all over the country and even overseas on how to invest in real estate, which I'm really excited about because I don't know if y'all know, Black people. Real estate, 80% of wealth in this country is built through real estate. 90% is passed intergenerationally. So that is one of the key ways, of course, to building wealth. Of course, amongst the other things that we should have a diverse portfolio. But real estate being the number one way, we all need to be in real estate in some capacity, but not just owning one home, creating our wealth plan. And so that's what I'm going to be teaching people inside the B1 Real Estate Mastery Training.
Wow. Okay. And I know Chanel's in the chat. Chanel, if you're sharing the link, I'm looking for it, but I'll find it and I can share it as well. I assume she's popping it in there. She's always on top of stuff. And so that's interesting you say that because I actually want to share something. here from your, I went to your Instagram, which is really fascinating, by the way. If you, I mean, this lady, she be hustling on the ground. I mean, in a good way, not no crazy way. And it's full of knowledge and full of power. And it's what I am Constance Carter at I am Constance. Is that right? I am
Yeah.
Constance Carter.
Hmm.
Okay. Yeah. And this is your video about black women, right? Is that the right
Yeah.
one? Can you see
Yep.
it?
Mhm.
Okay, so I'm gonna play this because I want you to. It was a really powerful video. It went mega viral. How many views did the video get?
I don't know. It got like, on my Facebook, I think got like 1.3 million. I'm not sure how many it got on here. TikTok, it did well as well. So, I don't know. It got hundreds of thousands of views, I guess.
Yeah, I thought it was really good.
Platforms.
Yeah, everyone should follow I am Constance Carter, right?
Please.
Because this is the place to be. So let me just play this, and I want everybody to just see. I saw it. I was super impressed with it. So let me see. I'm gonna share my audio. Here we go. Let me know. Give me a yes in the comments, everybody, if you can hear the video when I play it. So here it goes.
In 2025, over 300,000 black women have lost their jobs. And here's what blows my mind. This government had no idea what they were doing when they decided to release brilliance and excellence back into the streets. They thought they were taking our livelihoods. They thought they were crippling our families. But what they really did, they just unleashed the most educated demographic in America, black women. We're the ones holding the degrees, the certifications, the credentials, and a lifetime of skills they can't take away from us. And they about to fuck around and find out. Because black women, we don't crumble. We don't fold. Every rock that they throw at us, we use it to build the foundation for our next chapter. And mark my words, what they're gonna see is new black business owners launching brands that they can't ignore, new black real estate investors building portfolios that will feed generations, new black innovators creating solutions that shift industries, and new black joint ventures pulling our brilliance and our dollars so that power stays with us. Because here's the truth, they may have underestimated us, but they didn't break us. They just freed us to work for ourselves instead of building somebody else's dream. What's coming next is a new black wealth class, a class that owns more, earns more, and passes down more. A class that understands we are the CEOs of our own lives and the architects of our own future. So if you're one of those 300,000, this is your time. This is your moment. That layoff was not the end, it was the launch. And the world's about to see exactly what happens when black women stop asking for a seat at the table and start building the whole goddamn house. Now drop a black fist in the comments and share this with someone who needs to hear this gem.
Woo! What? What? They about to fuck around and
They about to fuck around and find out.
that's right. Oh my gosh, I love that. I was like, oh no, she didn't cuss. She cussed again. That's so bad. Can't
I
do that.
cuss
I'm
and I
playing.
love the Lord. I cuss and I love the Lord, y'all.
I love that video. I loved it because it really spoke to how, sometimes we can become addicted to the wrong things, and sometimes you got to be slapped out of an old reality to open your eyes to a new one.
Yeah.
You know, like, oh, I'd really compare it to being in a bad relationship.
Mhm.
Everybody knows what I'm talking about, where you get dumped and you're in the mud and you're like begging the person to come back, but that person's not for you, but you don't know it. You know,
Right.
you're on a drug, right?
Yeah.
You're on the love drug. And after you go through withdrawal, cold sweats and shivers and shaking like a heroin addict, then suddenly you wake up and you open your eyes to a new reality that was there all along, but you couldn't see it because you had the blinders on because you were focused on the wrong
Mm.
thing, right? You were
Yeah.
focused on the toxic things that you wanted the drug,
Mm.
right?
Mm.
And I can tell you, there's so many times where that's happened in my life. I believe that the white man's money is the black man and the black woman's drug.
Mm.
That's our dope. Like we're on
Mm.
that nipple, and sometimes and we're addicted to it. We're scared to lose it. When we lose it, we freak out. We go into a massive trauma response, and then one day you wake up and you realize ain't nobody gonna save you but you.
That part.
And you get up, you crawl out of bed, you stand up on your feet, and then I guarantee you, 99 times out of 100, you're stronger
Or
a
not.
year later than you were in the moment. So you got to go through. So the road to heaven is typically paved through hell,
Mhm. Yep,
right?
that's true.
You hit rock bottom, and then you figure it out, and then you are so much more resilient when you. In fact, people ask me sometimes, Constance, that they say, "Well, you had a rough time at Syracuse University. How do you feel about that university? Like, do you hold any ill will?" And I say, "No, I want to thank them. I
Right.
want to thank them because
Right.
if they'd been nicer to me and said, "Oh gosh, you're so talented. We love you. We're going to keep you here forever," I never would have saw this whole other reality that was so
Yeah.
much better.
Yeah.
So really that's what I liked about your video is that you really pointed that out. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I was seeing all these videos and all these, on social media about black women losing their jobs. And this was sort of my love letter to black women. And I was just like, listen, y'all, we are the shit. We are resilient. We are brilliant. We are the ones. And so, I get these ideas in probably even in the middle of the night or early in the morning. So my voice was probably a little even deep on that because I actually did that voiceover early in the morning because it was just a thought that came in my mind. I probably was scrolling and I kept seeing over and over again about about black women losing their jobs. And so I wanted to tell them, listen, they gonna fuck around and find out that we are not the ones to play with. And this is our opportunity that I've been waiting on for us to get a grip to say, listen, we're not gonna wait for them to save us. We're gonna start doing for ourselves. Because listen, boys, I don't know if you know, but less than 3% of businesses in black communities are black owned. And I shared this at A, B, and C, right? So if you go to a
Oh,
black community, you're going to see an Arab business. You probably will see a Hispanic business. You may see an Asian business. You're going to see white. You might see a Jewish business. But if you go to a Jewish community, are you going to see a black owned business? If you go to an Arab community, are you going to see a black owned business? If you go to a Hispanic community, are you going to see a black owned business? If you go to a white or Asian community, none of those. You're not going to see any of those, but they come to our communities. They make money off of us. And the thing about it is, we always talk about the fact that we have $2 trillion as of 2025, a spending power. We have $2 trillion. 2% is spent with black businesses, right? 6 hours in the black community. We know these statistics. What we don't talk about enough is the reason why we don't spend money with each other is because we don't got enough black businesses. That's why. So how are we gonna spend money with black people?
ain't nobody there to collect the money.
Yeah. So how are we gonna spend with each other if we don't have black businesses? So this is our moment. This is our time because I don't buy into the fact that we do bad business and black people. I don't do business with black people. All that stupid ass shit that we used to say. I believe that we want to do business with each other if we had the businesses to do businesses with. This is our time. This is our opportunity. This is our moment. We got to stop letting other people come in our communities and pillage and take all of our money out. And if we can create sustainable businesses, and this is what I'm about from real estate to everywhere else, what I do with Net 7 Collective, I want to teach black people to create sustainable businesses. And if we can do that, then we can start to practice collective economics. Then we can keep the money in our community. But it starts with us doing what? Starting businesses. We got to have businesses to spend with.
Yeah, I love that a lot, and I also, and by the way, in case you want to know what Constance's event actually September 11th, I guess that's 9 days from now at
I think it's
7:30.
next Tuesday or Wednesday. Is
Next
it?
Tuesday. Okay, yeah. It's called the Property Wealth Playbook. And so if you want to join for free, it's right there in the chat. So just grab that link and I just want everybody to know it's there. One other thing that I really liked was I didn't get a chance when you were at the All Black National Convention. I did not get, which by the way, everybody, it was the largest convention we ever had in
Amazing.
terms of just attendance and everything else. You did a really I was watching some of the clips and some of these clips, I'm actually share my screen and show what you did on Instagram. You were really giving some just powerhouse, like kick-ass advice. I would listen to the clips and I'm like, wow, that's really helpful information. And I want everybody to know Constance ran the largest black-owned real estate firm in California, right? So this is a power move for us. This is a power play. People like Constance are these are the types of people that we have in our own community that are serving our community, right? So before you go listen to Grant Cardone or somebody like that, you got geniuses right here in your space. So let me show you all something like just a clip of Constance speaking. Let me pull it up on my screen so I can get this right because I really think everyone should see this in terms of like the types of gems she was dropping at the event. And just this is the kind of value and substance you get at the All Black National Convention. The speakers are up close in the breakout sessions. You can walk up and talk to them. So it's not, it's big. We had a lot of people this year, more than we typically do. but there's also spaces for intimacy and connection. So let me show you. I'm just gonna play this really quick. And I don't even know actually what's in this particular video, but I bet you it's gonna be something good. So here it goes. Let me see.
So you have certain loans that are stated income where you can use your bank savings or you can just say this is how much I make. Now y'all remember back in 2005 to 2008, everybody was doing a stated income loan. Y'all remember that, right? You was a janitor, you was making $20,000 a month. And it was like, yeah, right. So a stated income loan was never meant for an owner occupant. It was never meant for a person who was buying a house to be in it. It was always meant for an investor. What ended up happening was a lot of y'all caught on to it and everybody started using it. And so now stated income loans are illegal. So Dodd-Frank in 2008 said that we are no longer for owner-occupied loans going to do stated income loans. Your typical stated income loan, or it will be like typically through like a private money lender or a hard money lender. You guys familiar with private money or hard money lenders? Those are your higher interests, more fees. Now, those are good a lot of times so as an investor, I flip property. Sometimes I use my own cash. Sometimes I use hard money. It just depends on what your return on investment is going to be. So sometimes when you get these stated income loans where you get hard money or private money lenders, you're going to be looking at maybe 11% interest rate. You're going to look at 3 percentage points. Say the house is $300,000, you're going to pay $9,000 in origination fees, plus you're going to pay all these other junk fees for these stated income loans. They're good if your margins are large enough to where you're going to get a great ROI, and they want to know that you got money, that you got skin in the game. So you don't have to have like 25-30% down. Now, DSCR loan, those are good because the rates aren't as high, but they're a little bit higher than conventional, right? But they're not as high as your regular hard money loan. All they want is your cash flow, really, right? So they want to make sure that the house that you have or the investment property that you have is going to be able to cover that mortgage payment. And you're going to have at least 25% skin in the game, right? If you're purchasing the property as a DSCR. I own a mortgage company, and when I originate DSCR.
Okay,
So,
wait.
Dr.
Is
Boyce,
that yeah,
so there was one that I talked about, don't buy a house with your spouse. That went viral, right? That went viral on all
really?
platforms. Now, some videos you have, it'll do something, it'll do well on one platform and not well on another. That one went viral on all of them, but it was very controversial because black folks still didn't understand what I was trying to say. I was saying, don't buy your first house with your spouse so that you can create more your wealth plan together. And they thought I
Mm.
was trying to separate. I was trying to, be some people, Miss Independent Black woman, don't buy a house with your husband. That's not what I'm telling people. I want to help build Black families. So I'm saying the way you build your wealth portfolio is you buy your first property, right? If you can afford it. And I preface that too, because then they were like, most people can't afford it. If you can afford it, you buy a property, right? Owner occupied, low down payment, low interest rate. Then you use the equity as leverage in that property. You buy another one. And then you can get a first time home buyer, low down payment, low interest rate. And then you rent and repeat. And then you put it in a living trust. So there's no issue of ownership. Well, this is his house. This is your house. If you're in a community property state anyway, it doesn't matter because the spouse is entitled to it. But even if you're not, then you do the second thing is you set up the living trust. So now the trust owns all the properties and then you're the beneficiary. You and your spouse and your children are the beneficiaries. Now you've created a solid wealth plan. So that one went viral. A lot of people understood it. A lot of people didn't. They thought I was trying to separate the Black family, and I'm just trying to put them up on game to show them how to build more wealth within their family. So
Wow. Well, so okay, so for those that don't get it, when you say okay, you buy the property and then we use the equity built up in that property to buy another property. Can you break that down like what would someone do to make that happen? Like for some people they're like, wait, I don't, you know what I mean? And so for those who are beginners, so no one feels like it's over their head, talk about how a person might do that, like step by step.
okay. So first of all, when you're married, don't have anything in both of your names. So if you have a credit card, if you have a car, if you can afford it. Now, this is for the people who can afford it, or a house. The reason why is it ties up your debt to income ratio. So if you're both on the loans, now you're both obligated to that debt. So what I'll say is, okay, husband and wife, you buy the husband, if you can afford this, you buy this first property. We're going to qualify you by yourself if you can afford it. We're not going to put the wife on the loan. We're going to put the property in a living trust, but we're not going to put her on the loan. That way, her debt to income ratio is not tied to the property, right? So now she's free to go buy another property and she doesn't have that heavy debt on her credit so that she could purchase another property. And then you guys put
Mm.
in trust. And oh, by the way, when I was on Fly Nubian Money, because I talk about living trust a lot. And living trusts are pretty expensive, and that was another thing that people were saying. I was on Fly Nubian Money one time, and we were talking about it, and I had a video that went viral a couple of years ago, and I was talking about how when I moved into an affluent neighborhood in California, it was a white affluent neighborhood, and I went to go look to see who all lived in this neighborhood, and I couldn't figure it out because everybody had their homes in a living trust. Then when I moved neighborhood in Maryland, which is the most affluent black community in the country. They got Lamborghinis and all this kind of crazy stuff. I could find out who everybody was. Why? Because nobody had living trusts. Black people.
Wow.
So 70% of white people, they have estate planning. 70% of black people do not have estate planning. And so you have all of this wealth and all of these assets, but then when you die, it ends up going to probate, you end up losing all this money. And so when I was on Fly Nubian Money, I was telling people, you know what? I'm redoing my living trust when I bought my new house with Chat GPT, right? You could do everything with Chat GPT. I took my $3,000 living trust and I recreated it on Chat GPT. And then I was like, let me just do an ebook. So I created an ebook for those so that they can afford it. It's $20 that you can go and you could create your own living trust. You could even take it to an attorney and have them overlook it. They're not going to charge you $3,000, but now you have a solid living trust. I have all of the terms, the state specific requirements and the terms for that, the prompts for each state, and then how to file it and then how to get it notarized. All of that stuff inside an ebook that's only $20. And I created it because a lot of people were saying it's too expensive. And I'm like, so I took a whole weekend, created this book, and I sell it, and it's selling thousands of copies. And black people are now able to, plan their estates for $20. So it's on
Wow.
makemylivingtrust.com. So I'll put that in the chat. But if they
Yeah,
want
what's that URL again?
makemylivingtrust.com.
Make
And
my living trust.
even my famous friends are using this Make My Living Trust. Because it's easy. It's like it's a no-brainer.
Mm, I love that. I love that. And you,
Somebody said it's a very good ebook. Thank you, Rod White.
oh, okay. There we go. MakeMyLivingTrust.com. I love it. And also, Constance's webinar next week. The link to that is in there as well. So you guys can click it and register right now. For those who are watching that are not inside the Zoom, I'll put the link in the comments. And also, if you want to register for the Zoom, make sure you text the word morning to the phone number 87948. So text morning to 87948, and I'll send you a link. You can come in the Zoom and converse with everybody here. So let's get back to the issue of black women
Yes.
and the job loss thing. Sorry.
I say
Oh,
yes.
sorry. Oh, okay. Yeah. So let me. Another thing I was thinking about today was I was at the gym and I was processing this. How can I say this? We live in a strange society. I know what it was. One of my friends mentioned that he didn't understand why some people want to have a lot of kids, right? And I remember saying, kids are a blessing. Like kids are fine. But then they were like, but kids are expensive, and if you have a career, it gets in the way of your career to some extent. It takes time. And I said, yeah. I said, but what's interesting to me is capitalism kind of trained us to feel that the career is everything, right? Like think about it, there. A lot of us know people who never had kids so they could focus on their career,
Yeah.
never had a family, never got married so they could focus on their career. And I'm not judging that decision at all. That's a personal choice. But then what happens if you are, say, 45 and you have dedicated everything to your career so you can be really successful in your career and then you achieve that you're making money, you've got this high prestigious position, and then Trump comes along, DEI gets cut, everything gets cut, government jobs get cut, and you lose the thing you've been sacrificing for. You literally sacrifice family and everything for the career. That's actually devastating. That in some cases, I would almost say like for say let's say women, it happens to men too, but we're talking about the black women. I would say that for a black woman who sacrificed everything for her career, for her to lose her job, it reminds me of when black men sacrifice everything to get to the NFL or the NBA, and then they don't make it.
Mm,
It's like you're not just losing your job, you're losing part of your identity.
yeah. Yeah.
What do you
That is
think about
no, that is crazy. I was when we were at I don't know if you were in the room when we were on the panel with Dr. Lene and Chanel. No, not Chanel. Dr. Nene, Tierra, we were on the panel on the bonus day. But somebody said that. Like, because when you're talking about estate planning, I built all these things. And then number one, well, she said, I don't have anybody to pass it to. And so I was so glad that somebody got up and talked because I was thinking, you know what? Live your best life, girl. Go out there, travel. You ain't got to save, you ain't got nobody. But what somebody did say is that you still need to, which I was glad it was Aisha, which I was glad that she was there because she brought me back down to reality because I was like, what the hell you need to who you passing it to, girl, live. But what she said is you still need to have that that care for when you are when you are at that age where you're in retirement stage and you still want to live a good life. You don't want to, you may not have anybody to leave your things to, but you still want to make sure that your quality of life in your elder years are still comfortable for you. So, but I do think it is unfortunate. It is really unfortunate when you have sacrificed everything. And it's one of the things I told my sister. My sister was one of the 300,000. She lost her job, I think, in March, and she has this like I think she has severance until November. I'm like, what you doing, girl? Like, what is we doing? What we doing? And she's like, oh, y'all need your little motivation. And I'm like, what are you doing? She's like, I'm old. I ain't got no skills. Like, I only know this. She's only 53 years old. She's like, she's
Mm.
wait, four. And so I'm like, so what are you going to do? And she was so shocked that she got laid off that it just paralyzed her. And that's the problem with a lot of people is they're so shocked when they get laid off that when they do it, and I'm like, why are you not expecting this? How do you expect for these people at any given time could say that they no longer need your services? You got to think about the guy who was the CEO of the pharmaceutical company that got killed. They had his job on Indeed and on LinkedIn the next day. Nobody is exempt. So you have to understand that these people are not loyal to you. So why are we being loyal to these companies? And I know that everybody is not meant to be an entrepreneur, but one thing that you say that I think is so poignant, Dr. B, is that everybody should be selling something. Everybody should have some, the Bible says that we should have 8 revenue streams. That's what it says in case a disaster strikes. Disaster struck in 2020 with COVID. A disaster can strike I got a disaster in 22 when I, lost $1 million in my divorce. A disaster could strike with you losing your job. Anything could happen. And if I didn't have multiple revenue streams, no way I would be able to move 3,000 miles away, move into this great neighborhood and still be able to support all of my children by myself, two in college, one graduate strictly alone had I not had multiple revenue streams. And, I scaled back on the real estate business. So that's important. You cannot rely on one thing, one job to ensure that, you're going to be taken care of. You just can't.
Well, it's unfortunate when you have to have, almost like these, economic genocides, to kind of get that wake up call, like that wake up call that just says these people are not loyal to you.
Yeah,
And there's no way to get around the necessity for financial security. Like everyone has to have it, and a job is not security.
it's
The
not.
job is it can provide some sort of sustenance and maintenance, but when they turn that faucet off, you're starving again. You're thirsty again, right? So having that financial security piece, that's not optional, especially if you're black. I mean, it's difficult,
First
and I
one's
think that
fired.
yeah, first one fired, last one hired, last one to get the raise, last one to get the promotion, and that doesn't change no matter based on the education level.
Yeah, you think about it. Black women are the most educated demographic, and we still make it 62% of white men. I mean, it's crazy. We're the most educated, but we're not even making as much as white women. We way more educated than them. But white men were at 62% of their income, and then we're complaining, but we're not creating their own. Listen, folks is going to look out for folks that look like them, and that's the bottom line. And if you expect, you could call the NAACP, you could call everybody you want, the Urban League, whoever you want on these white folks. At the end of the day, they are going to look out for themselves, and so we have to start doing the same thing.
Right on. I love that. I love that. Well, you know what? Everybody, this is Constance Carter, and I want everybody to follow her. I am Constance Carter on Instagram. She is, as you can see, she's always bringing the funk. I'm not gonna. Every
Passionate.
time I talk to her, every time I interview her, I always talk about the fact that she's a great rapper. But
Oh,
she's
don't do
probably
that.
tired of me mentioning that. But you know what? And it's funny. A lot of you and a lot of the queens have like a lot of like other talents. You know, like Tierra just came out with her
Did
album.
you hear her album?
It is good. It is good, y'all. Like y'all gotta go listen. It's Karma J, Kharmajai.
Fire.
She's one of us. She's one of us. So
Yes,
we all gotta go to
fire.
Spotify and support this. We're actually her website, I think is I don't know if it's karmaj.com or
I think it's
something.
karmajade.com.
Okay, yeah. And so if you want to support, which I suggest you consider as well, like I paid a little. This was very inexpensive, but
Yeah.
I wanted
Nine
to
ninety
listen to
nine.
them.
I did too. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, but I mean the album, you know, your friends tell you that they perform, and you're like, okay, I'll support. But I listened. I said, I really like this, and she's like, you say it like you're surprised. I said, well, I mean, I just was gonna like it regardless, but I really like it. Even if I didn't know you, I'd like it, right? So yeah, so check it out. Karma J, Khar. It's like Kharma. Don't forget the H, Jai. And Constance also is like her. She has this rap song she does before her podcast, and that's really good. And so yeah, so I encourage everybody to check out what the Queens are doing. If you text the word Queens to the number 87948, they go live every day, and Constance is there with Lala, who lives across the sea, Dr. Alicia and
Dr.
Tierra and
Lene. And
Dr.
you know what?
Lene.
Here's the thing. We like each other in real life. Like we're real friends in real life. And so that's the great thing too. And Dr. B brought us all together, but we were real friends in real life. We were saying the other day, if we lived in the same place, we would get nothing done.
Yeah, well, you know, and what's interesting is like I'll pop over there just to see, and it's like y'all just come up with stuff,
We have
and I really think that this is a natural, you know, I guess collaboration because I think that you know, black men and black women when we form communities and we're all just kind of being our best self and doing our best and supporting each other, we succeed, we win, you know,
absolutely.
and I couldn't, I mean, when we did the convention, I you all were such an amazing part of the convention. Like you know, I did my little thing, but I enjoyed watching everything you all did, and it was really, really informative. And what it really baffles me on is I just don't know if our society really knows just how extraordinary a lot of our black women are. You
Mhm.
know, now mind you, we got to be honest. You know, some of our people need help, and we're gonna pray for them, right? But male and female. But you've got some really extraordinary women in your community, and I would encourage everybody to make sure you acknowledge that. You know, so I guess that's my little way of trying to do that right now. So thank you
Well,
for.
I can definitely say this, Doctor. If y'all don't know, this is one of the most kind and humble people in real life, for real, in real life. So I just need you guys to understand that because some people like Dr. Boyce for the controversy because he says some controversial things, or they're like, "Oh, he's an asshole. I like him because he's an asshole." But in real life, he's not really an asshole, y'all. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I didn't want to tell you a secret, Dr. B. I didn't want to tell it, but he's not.
My cover's blown.
Yeah. Not really an asshole in real life. So, I mean, he's just, and I appreciate, him always including me. I had sent you a text and it didn't even go through. I didn't even see it the other day till you text me. But I'm just appreciative of him always, putting me on and always including me because he don't have to. You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate the opportunity and I love black people like you love black people. So I enjoy all the things that come along with it. And I love, the All Black National Convention. Then a few months ago, we did the Elevation Summit in Miami. That was a
Yeah,
good
that was fun.
time. We had a good time there. So, it's just we just I think we both have the same mission in dedicating our lives to Black people and Black education and Black resilience and Black excellence and Black intelligence. And so, those like minds, when you come together and the goal is not us, but it's Black people, then you can kind of, just create something really special, I think.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and you do like gatherings in DC, and I definitely want to
I
come to
gotta
one of
put
them.
something together. I gotta bring you to DC dot because I gotta put something together because yeah, I'm out here and I put a couple of events on and they've been, I'm like, I don't even know nobody out here, but they've been well received. So I'm gonna do something and I'm gonna bring you out here for sure. For sure.
Yeah, and
All
sooner
y'all
rather
in
than
the
later.
DMV, y'all gonna come out and support if we bring Dr. Boyce out here?
Yeah,
Yep.
and I'm gonna tell you, we got some rich Negroes in the room. They might hop on an airplane and come out.
Let's
Let's all
go.
just take a little DC vacation
All
together.
right.
I'll give you guys a heads up. And
They
look, I
said
mean,
yeah. They said yeah.
think about it. The plane ticket might be like $300 or something. I mean, don't
Oh,
get
I
me
mean,
wrong,
it's an
not
investment.
belittling that, but really, like a
Investment.
lot of I'm telling you, like that because everybody's investing and doing. I mean, it just gives you all these options, so you really can hop
Absolutely.
on an airplane and go to DC for the weekend. And so to me, it's fun because I feel like we're kind of all on this journey together, where we're exploring and discovering ourselves and we're literally taking our people to Mars, so to speak. Like we're taking ourselves to this other reality, this other vision, this other place. Where you're not living in the world of scarcity, you're living in a world of abundance, where you can explore all the possibilities that exist around you, and that's what I want. That's my prayer for everybody in this room. Is I don't want you waking up every day thinking about how terrible it is to be black. I
Mhm.
think that that's a waste of our lives, right? I think that we should wake up and say, gosh, dang it, I am so blessed. I don't know which blessing to pick. There's so much opportunity. I don't know which direction I want to go. And knowledge is a part of that. Knowledge is a part of it. Consciousness is a part of it. Community is a part of it. When you talked about the not being an asshole, that's literally one of my slogans. When I gave my brother a speech at his wedding, I was the best man. That I said first thing I said is, well, I think the key to getting along with people is just don't be an asshole, right? You know when you're being an asshole, be nice to people, like, and then start the conversation with kindness, and then you can get to the other stuff. So my goal in terms, my next initiative in not being an asshole is I want to come to DC and I want to hang out with you in at your event, and you help me get the venue and all that, and I'll make it happen on my side. And also I want to go see Dr. Anderson. We when he and I
Oh yeah,
talked
he's out
yesterday.
here.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
told me to come visit, and I got to go see The Godfather, and I hope everybody else will acknowledge him. Today's his 90th birthday, and I told him how much you love him, and I'm gonna tell you the honest to God truth. I hope he doesn't mind me mentioning this. I don't know if Dr. Anderson is completely convinced that he's had the legacy that he really wanted to have. Right? He's such a soldier. He's a tough man. He wants to be out here. He wants to be out doing stuff. He wants to be speaking and traveling and all these other things. And unfortunately, you're 90. It's a little tougher to do. And no matter how much I tell him, I say, okay, so you got the Lifetime Achievement Award at the All Black National Convention. You got the Lifetime Achievement Award from the National Business League. InvestFest just showed your movie at InvestFest. Like you did it. You know what I mean? Like you made, and it's crazy because he still is like, I think he still feels like there's more work to do or that people don't appreciate what he did as much. And I think I'm suspecting that part of it might come from the fact that while everybody might say, good job, we love you, it's great, action speaks louder than words, and I don't know if he got the support. Like he's had that. He's been spending his own money on that reparations lawsuit for like 40 years. The black
Wow.
politicians ignored him. A lot of the black community, nobody stepped in to help pay the bill. The celebrities, like people like the Diddy's and stuff, would call him and not do anything, right? And then also the Harvest Institute. He has a think tank for black people. When first day I met Dr. Ensign, well, I met him the first time in 2006. First time I really sat down and talked to him for several hours in Chicago was about 2015. And all he did the whole time was talk about black people. The whole time. 4 or 5 hours. And I said, wow. And it reminded me of Farrakhan. Farrakhan's the same way. When I talked to Farrakhan in private for 2 or 3 hours, he was the same guy he is in public. I said, this is unbelievable. This is amazing. He didn't say, well, let me let my hair down and, put my slippers on and talk about football. No, he was talking about the same things privately that he talks about publicly. And I was really impressed by that. So I would say with Dr. Anderson, I would just hope everybody can just understand, if you believe in something or someone, do something. We talked about this yesterday, like, so for example, I believe in you, Constance. So it's like, okay, let me get on the plane. Let me come be there. When we do the convention, you're like really in there. You've been coming to the convention for like what, 8 years, something like
Yeah.
that.
8 or 9 years. But
Yeah, yeah, and I
I,
really think I think that this is a power move. Okay, so in addition to talking about Dr. Anderson, I would argue that it's a power move in our community right now, in the B1 community, that we become the people where action is connected to the words, right? Like we're really taking action in our lives, taking action in the lives of others. If I say I support you, I'm going to give you a receipt with my actions and activities, as opposed to me just saying like I love you, I love you, I love you. What are your thoughts on that?
Amen. Well, I agree. We have to stop just being hearers of the word and start being doers of the word. We have to start actually implementing the things that we hear all the time. We have to. But I do want to speak on that, Dr. Claude Anderson, because he has great sons that are carrying on his legacy. You and all the other, black men that follow Dr. Anderson and that are putting forth in action his teachings. So he has you. So for him to think, man, maybe I didn't make an impact. I mean, powernomics, the Bible for black people, and then to have you carry this to the next level. And I mean, you had series on powernomics, and you talk about powernomics, and you're probably the one that got him on the Breakfast Club. Did you get him on the Breakfast Club so that the masses?
I I did play a part. I remember reaching out to the people there. Him, Tariq Nasheed, and Minister Farrakhan. Those were three conversations I remember having. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and here's another thing I can say about the All Black National Convention. One thing that I love to see is that when I go to conferences, like church, like personal development, like professional development, you're going to see 80% women. And
Mm.
here, I see so many men. I see so many black men, and that's what I love. Dr. Boyce is it's still the scales tilt a little bit to women still because just that's just the nature of who we are, right? But there are so many black men. It's almost equal. I would say. I don't know the percentage, but to be able to see all these black men who are learning from you, who are pouring into themselves, but are doing stuff and taking it back to the community, that is a breath of fresh air right there too, right? Because you don't see that often. And I go to conferences, but you don't see black men show up in the way that they do at the All Black National Convention. And I love to see it.
Well, you know what? That's a great point. I'd like to do a poll. Let's do a poll on the Zoom. Okay, so I'm gonna run a poll real quick, everybody, and I want you to, if you could, answer it really quickly. Let me see if I can make this work. Y'all know how I am with the technology, but I really want to know if you are a man or a woman, and I'm gonna launch this poll in five, four, three, two, go. All right, man or woman. So if you're a man, click man. It should pop up on your screen. If you're a woman, click woman. All right. So the ladies are winning slightly. It's
Are they?
57% women so far, 41% men though. So we got a lot
Okay.
of brothers in here. All
Yeah.
right. So now don't type it in the
You
chat
guys put
now.
it
I
in
know
the
some of y'all
poll. Put it
type
in the
it.
poll. Put it in the poll.
Make sure you click on the poll, but you can type in the chat too if you want to. Uh-oh, look at this. Okay, let's see where we're at. Okay, somebody Calvin says, "Where's non-binary?" Okay, well I forgot to put that in there. But if you are non-binary, then shout it out in the chat because we love everybody, 100%. I don't do that whole like binary not gay. I don't. We ain't gonna divide over nothing like that. In fact, y'all need to treat your gay sons better because some of y'all putting them out of the house, hitting them on the head with a Bible and throwing them out of the house. You can't do that. You
I
got to
love
love everybody, all right? So let's all right, so we're almost done. All right. We're gonna be
it.
done in five,
Where
four.
is it?
Now, a
Where it
little
is.
more than half of you have answered. So everybody answer. Come on.
Come on,
Five,
y'all. Man or
four,
woman. In the poll,
three,
you guys, in the poll. They're saying women.
two. The poll should be on your screen, Terrell. Does everybody see it? Two, one. All right, and go. All right, here we go. Here's the results. All right, so let me put it
They
on the
don't see the
screen.
poll.
All right, so it's 58% women, 42% men.
See? So
So,
typically, you will see like 80% women.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Atlanta. I think Alicia did a dating thing in Atlanta, and it was awkward. It was 27 women, three dudes, and two of the dudes were not exactly all that appealing.
I
So
saw
there
that.
was
That's why I left.
So
I said,
I
"Leave
heard
it
there
to
was I
y'all."
heard there was one guy who was planning on how he was going to fertilize all the women that surrounded him, which just because did you hear that story? There was a this is stupid. We get dumb right now. There was a story I saw, a true story. I think it was gerbils or hamsters or something, and they had all the females in one cage and the males in another cage. And one of the males snuck into the cage with the women and he got like 100 hamsters pregnant or something crazy
What?
like
See, see.
he got like almost 100 of them pregnant. And I was like, man, that child support is gonna be crazy. And so,
It don't even
so
matter the species. Men gonna be men.
right. Yeah, I know, right? I know. These dirty dogs. But yeah, they took him out. They sent him. They put him out. You know, he announced his retirement, I guess, after that. But
Yeah.
anyway, yeah, yeah. But this really speaks honestly in terms of like what we really are kind of dealing with. Like I think that because men and women are just different. Um, when they kind of really went after the black man, particularly in the 90s, and they kind of just said we're going to exterminate black males, there's a reason for that. Like because males have a certain function in a society. And when they did that, and scientists have confirmed this, there's a deep article in The Economist where they literally said the African American community has become off balance because of mass incarceration. So when they did that, and you suddenly have all these women that are flourishing and doing well, and the men that just kind of went through this like literally extermination process, right? That it just made things weird in the dating market. What they said in particular, and they analyzed this from an economic standpoint. This was the economists, scientists did this, and these were British scientists talking about African American people. That was what was so fascinating. They said that what it did was they said something like the percentage of black women that were unmarried went up by 2% or something, almost 2% for every 1% increase in the incarceration rate. And what it did was they said that it made the men kind of have like all these options, right? And the decent men, the men that got money, the men that are 6 feet tall, the men that are, they have things going on. And then you had women that were in this race to the bottom, where you're basically trying to compete like crazy with all these other women. So you're on Instagram, showing body parts and trying to compete and everything else, and it just creates like all this chaos. They talked about all this, then they broke it down in a really scientific way, almost like the way you might talk about a species of antelopes where you kill all the males and then or 80 you kill 80% of the males and the female, like the same thing would happen in any ecosystem. So they disrupted our ecosystem. So part of resurrecting the black community, absolutely positively in my view, means resurrecting the status of the black male, whatever that means to people. What are your thoughts on that?
That is it's very interesting, and it's hard out here because I'm a single woman now. So it's challenging. It's not that I don't have any options, but it's just the right options, and it's tough to because of what it is. But you think about it, I just when I hear something like that. I think about how powerful must the people that we be if all of these efforts go into destroying our people. How powerful do they think we are? When you look at, even during slavery and during the buck breaking, right? They knew how powerful black men were. And then after that, when you have the black codes, and then this is the beginning of mass incarceration and the disruption of the black family, and then you throw welfare in there and no man in the house, and how you've done that, and then, as we were building our communities because we're resilient after Reconstruction, we're building our communities, we're minding our black business, and then you get jealous and you burn them, and you disrupt the black family, and then you start to incarcerate black people, and then you start bringing drugs. I don't know if y'all know that the CIA is the one who brought drugs into black communities all over the country. Gary Webb from San Jose Mercury News, who it was my hometown, he did the article where he exposed the CIA for bringing drugs into the black community. And I don't know if y'all know, but he committed suicide by shooting himself twice in the back of the head
Right.
after exposing the CIA. But this is a concerted effort to destroy our community, and unfortunately, we've played into it a lot with taking on those monikers, and you got to think about this too, because you're put in a tough spot when you have you have the great migration of black people coming from the south going up north to Chicago and all these places to get these jobs. Then you have white flight, right? So white people start leaving, And then you have urban decay, which is now we're going to take the money out of the local economies. So now we're going to cause all this blight. We're not going to provide jobs. We're going to starve these black people. So now let's just go ahead and put some drugs in these communities, start killing themselves, right? Because it is an experiment. You know, J. Edgar Hoover said the biggest threat to America was Negro unity, the fear of the Black Messiah, the rise of the Black Messiah. They do not want us to unite, so they've done everything that they can to destroy our people. And so now this is the living results of all the efforts that have happened over the years. They don't do this to no other race but
Mm.
black people. And we've bought into it with the music that we listen to, with the continuance of the violence, the quote on black crime or whatever. We've bought into it and we're perpetuating what they want. So now, and it's funny because on my Facebook page, oh, the racists come. I'm like, oh, I ain't putting enough positive black shit on there because I ain't seen a racist in a minute. Now they back. But one thing that they said, because I always put Black history spotlights on there, and I always talk about a lot of Black history. And somebody said the other day, now we just watch y'all do it. Now we just sitting back and watch y'all kill each other. We love this shit. And
Yeah,
we're falling for it hook, line, and sinker, unfortunately.
yeah, it's rough, right? And this, and these conversations are important to be had. If you're talking about black wealth, you have to talk about what's happening in the black community, right? Because wealth, grows like a flower. It grows like any other seed, where the environment that you're growing the flower matter, and the soil that you grow it in matters as much as what you're trying to plant. Right? If I plant roses in the desert, they're not going to grow no matter how great the seeds are. Right? And so to some extent, we are trying to grow desert roses sometimes in our families. We have little geniuses that could become anything, but he gets shot on his way to school. Or some little girl is supposed to be the first, the next black female president of the United States, but she becomes a city girl because she's listening to Cardi B and what you know what I mean, right? So she becomes like the smartest woman in the strip club, right? I mean, this happens all the time, and I personally will say that. So we have to be mindful, and almost to the point of being just almost like what's the word? Extremely diligent about defending our culture and not letting people come in and bastardize us and misrepresent us and throw us out there like we blind, deaf, dumb, and crazy, because this does have a real impact. And it's not just the economics. Of course, you're going to be broke. Of course, you're going to be in an economic struggle, but you're also going to have all these other problems that are so bigger than just the fact that you have no money. Money will just make it worse. Money will just be like you cut yourself open with 1,000 knives, and then you're pouring salt in every single wound. And that's kind of what the financial side of it does, right? Not only am I miserable and depressed and going through hell, and I just got shot, or my cousin's dead, and my family's broken apart, but then we broke on top of that. So you know what I mean? So it's like the money is just one of many things that just can only make things worse. So I personally will encourage everybody, when you're talking about money, make sure you learn how to talk about everything else. This is why I think the black wealth conversation has to be different from every other conversation. It cannot be a simple discussion. You cannot go to the doctor when you got a list of ailments. You can't go to the doctor and just get an aspirin. You need to go get some damn surgery. And we need black wealth surgeons. And these are people that are specialists, people that are focused on our people, that understand our community, that understand the African American experience. Not that everyone in the diaspora can't be part of the conversation, but African American people, y'all just done been through some shit. They got us walking backwards constantly. And so anyway, on a lighter note though, I looked up that story about the hamster, and here's the facts of it. It wasn't a hamster; it was actually a guinea pig, and his name was Randy. And Randy did get about 100 hamsters pregnant, or guinea pigs, sorry, pregnant. And each guinea pig gives birth to between 2 and 4 kids. So Randy is the proud dad of about 300 babies. So that's just in case anybody wants to know how this. Calvin said Randy was a savage. Yeah, Randy got to go get him an OnlyFans. But Anyway, okay, so let me just finish. I'm gonna let Constance get the last word because 'cause sometimes I talk too much, but when I
No,
do that, we
listen, I
I
enjoy
enjoy.
listening to you, so this is good.
Well, I enjoy having you here. It is such a blessing to know you and to work with you. And I want everybody to know the link to Constance's event, which is called the Property Wealth Playbook Invest Partner Prosper. The link is right there in the chat. So click the link, go ahead and register. The event is September 11th at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, and you can hang out there. Her Instagram is I am Constance Carter, so you can follow her on Instagram. Constance, did you have any final words you'd like to share before we bounce out for today?
So listen, I enjoy being here. I do believe that we need to know where we've been so that we can understand where we're going. And I think these conversations are so important to be had. Not that we're stuck in the past, because that's not what it is, but we need to understand why we are the way where we are. Because often I think too many times we hear the conversation of what we're not doing, what we ain't, what we can't, all of these things about Black people, but not understanding how we got here. It's like you said, going back to the symptom of the problem and not just putting a band-aid on it. If you understand the psychology of where we've been and why we are in this position, because when people say, "Oh, look at the Africans that came over here, and look at how well they're doing," or "Look at Asians that came over here and look at how well they're doing," they have not had
Mhm.
our experience. So you have to understand what our experience is. That's the reason why we were so brainwashed into thinking, "Oh, I don't do business with Black people because Black people don't do good business." Those were things, ideals that were implanted in us. So we need to understand why they exist. Black people have done historically good business. Black people did have great communities that were destroyed from the outside in, and understand that we are strong enough and we're resilient enough to have them again. We just have to work together. That African proverb that says, when if you want to go fast, go alone, but if you want to go far, you have to go together. And we cannot do this alone. We can't. Like brothers and sisters, we need each other. So we got to stop the fighting. Like I said in the beginning about how the Black men were happy that Black women were losing their jobs. No, because if we lose, you lose. Like it's like somebody saying, it's like my ex saying, "I hope she fails." Well, if I fail, then your kids ain't eating. You know what I'm saying? Like if
Yes.
if you fail, I fail. Like we have to build this community together. We cannot do it. We can't go at it alone. So we got to start looking across the aisle at our brothers and sisters, and we have to walk together. That's why I'm doing the B1 Real Estate Mastery Training. And in this training, you guys, I'm going to teach. So I'll be teaching multifamily strategies. I'll be teaching single family. I'll be teaching all those things. Most importantly, though, I'm teaching you how to create sustainable businesses, because I could teach you how to flip a house all day long. I could teach you how to get a multi-unit. But if you have it and your exposure to taxes are high, or your legal exposure is high, then you're not going to be in business very long. So it's not just a quick fix. We're gonna flip a house. We're gonna make $100,000. No, we're gonna create businesses so that you can pass it on to your children and your children's children. That, and then the other thing is, what I've learned in the last cohort. I gave so much information, but there's a lack of funding that a lot of Black people have, and so now, so I do introduce funding strategies, but we're going to start practicing collective economics inside that. I'm going to show you how you can get your next joint venture partner inside the community, so that we can work together inside the community, not only so that we can invest in real estate, but we can start developing communities, because that's what we need to be doing together. So that's what this cohort is going to be. We're going to do a training next week for free on September 11th, which I'm excited about. I'll be in California. So I hate going there, but I'll be doing it from California, from my mom and them house or somebody's house. But it's gonna be a great training, and then the class is gonna start. I think September 23rd is gonna be our first class for the B1 Real Estate Mastery Training, and we are a family. So this is interactive. We talk, we get in breakout rooms, we do homework. Like it's really hands-on training that I like to do. So hopefully you could be a part of it. And finally, Net 7 Nation, we have our first meeting tonight, which is local cohorts in different cities. And Net 7 Collective is a community that I coach. And so now we're spreading it out to women from all over. Actually, we have 500 women from 20 different countries have said yes, that they want to be a part of it. And so if you are in or around the area, go to net7nation.com, and you can hop on the Zoom call with us, and we'll talk to you about what that looks like for you.
All right, all right. Well, thank you, Constance. It's always great to see you. And thank you everybody for hanging out with us. This was so much fun. And you guys will hear back from us later on today. I'll send you guys a text with a link to join Constance's event next week if you guys want to participate in that. And I hope you have a great day. And of course, every single morning we meet for Money in the Morning financial consciousness training. So if you haven't done it yet, text the word morning to the number 87948. So text morning to 87948. I'll see you soon. Take care,
Oh, wait, one
everybody.
more thing, Dr. B. Hold on.
Sure.
I'm gonna go live. I'm gonna continue the conversation about real estate. We're gonna talk about real estate. And I don't go live on Tuesdays, but I'm gonna go ahead. So you guys could go on the Dr. Boyce Watkins Black Excellence channel. I'm about to go live in about 5 minutes so we can kind of continue the conversation about real estate. So if you guys want to come on over there, let's talk.
All right, perfect. All right, and she goes live a lot. She's always on the Fly Nubian Queen channel and stuff like that. She's Constance is there
Yep.
all the time. So yeah. So God bless you, everybody. Have a great day, and
All right.
we'll see you soon. Take care. All right, see you later, Constance.
All right.